Games, Brains, A Head-Banging Life here. We've got a tier list ranking for you. We are going to touch upon one that I always thought would be one of the more difficult ones to do, because we are going to be ranking vocalists within the rock and metal community and world. But of course, there are hundreds of talented and not so talented vocalists out there. So rather than make a tier list that's hours and hours long, similar to another style of tier list that we're doing on the channel right now, we're going to break these up into parts across the year of 2021. And then come the end of the year, whatever falls inside the two categories, top categories, will then go into a separate tier list until we eventually get to what we think is the best vocalist of all time. In theory, that's how it should work. So
simple.
yeah. And for this one, I mean, I started off just basically choosing the legendary great ones. Then I tried to mix it up. And there's some interesting choices here. We have 5 categories. As always, the top one is iconic. So those vocalists that we think are basically untouchable in their respective field. Great is next. Then we've got good. Then we've got meh. And then we've got rubbish. I'd be very surprised if anything falls in from this group. I'd be very surprised if anything falls in the bottom 2, if that makes sense. Well, we'll see how we go, right?
Yeah.
So you ready?
Let's do it. Yeah. Go for it.
We kick off with one of the women on this list. It is Angela Gossow, ex-Arch Enemy. So, obviously, she's got that kind of brutal death metal style, guttural kind of vocals. We have to talk about the past only with her, because obviously she's no longer an Arch Enemy and hasn't been the singer for Arch Enemy for some time now. Yep. But yeah, what have you ever seen Arch Enemy live? You have, haven't you?
I have, yeah. Part of the Black Crusade.
That's it, with Machine Head and
Trivium. Yeah, Arch. There were like 5 bands, weren't there? Yeah, Dragon Force, Arch Enemy, Trivium, Machine Head, and I think there was someone else as well. But
strong, man. We wouldn't get that kind of show over here these days.
Yeah, that was the last time I saw Arch Enemy, and that was Angela. I haven't actually. I don't think I've seen Arch Enemy. Or did I? Were they at Bloodstock a couple of years back?
With I can't remember her name. They were, but I don't think we saw them.
No, I think I remember like that kind of in passing, watch a song sort of thing. Like Alyssa, she's a strong vocalist.
Alyssa, yeah. It's a double barrel last name, but Alyssa's her first name.
Yeah. Angela's a strong vocalist. She's got a very, very strong, kind of harsh growl vocals.
Yeah.
And she can sing as well.
Definitely.
But yeah. I'm not a huge Arch Enemy fan.
No.
But, I'm well aware that, well, the 2 females that I know that are front of the band are both fucking pretty decent vocalists, so.
I think we get it started. I wouldn't put her, I'd put her in great.
Yeah, I would do the same.
And that's a great.
She's great.
She is great. She's great. I agree with everything what you're saying. When I first heard Arch Enemy, I was a lot younger, and I hadn't had much experience with women who could do the guttural death style of, because obviously there aren't that many. And my I was used to women singing in Nightwish and Within Temptation and stuff like that, or pop punk bands. So she was a revelation at the time. I do think nowadays there are many, like if you compare it to some of the women that are doing the guttural stuff these days, I think she pales in comparison to them. But, she's certainly a pioneer. That's certainly the case, right?
Yeah, she's a strong vocalist, man.
Which brings us to one of the biggest. Oh, God, here he is himself. It's not the best picture. I apologize for that. It is one I just took off Google. It is Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses and part-time AC/DC gig briefly. This
is tough because it's almost like era specific.
Yes, it has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah. So if you were going back to first 3-4 albums, I would say he was a great vocalist. I wouldn't put him in the top category,
right? Because
there have always been points for me where Axl Rose's higher tone stuff got on my nerves.
Yeah.
Just some of those things like the extended end of Don't Cry, I think it is.
There we
go. It just goes on for like 20 minutes, going, like some sort of fucking demented sheep. But he was a very good vocalist, and the songs that I love from Guns N' Roses are all from that era, and I love his vocals in all of them, whether it's Civil War or Head Knocking on Heaven's Door or or the
Yeah.
alternative lyrics of "Don't Cry," the best version.
No question, no question.
But he obviously can't do it anymore. He's not a million miles away. I think as he's got a little bit healthier in more recent times, but he can't hit the notes anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think because I'm kind of torn between, on one side of it I'd say great, and on the other side I'd say meh. I'm kind of tempted to just sit in the middle of it and say good when I average it across both eras.
I think that's there. I think you've nailed it there. I watched Axl Rose download performance when they last played a few years back. I watched quite recently, and I was like, okay, he can still do a pretty damn good job. But like, and obviously that was live and stuff like that. But I was thinking, like, you were there. I was like, yeah, but that's not what I'm hearing when I listen to Civil War. That's not what I hear when I'm hearing let's call it Knocking on Heaven's Door and all of that. That's still different. So I think we're gonna have some controversial opinions in this, but I think good is fair.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there'll be many people that be like, oh my God, he's an iconic vocalist. But to us, no.
He is an iconic vocalist from 20 years ago.
Okay, here's an interesting one then. It is Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day fame. Many people adore his vocals. Many people hate his vocals. Where do you sit?
I hate his vocals. I've never liked them, and this isn't because I'm like I don't like Green Day. Even when I had no problem with Green Day, I was never a fan. But even when they were just there and they were a band that happened to be about, never liked his vocals. He's nasally.
Yes.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for me. You know, that's just one of those things, isn't it? I got no real beef with the man. I just listen to him sing and I think, oh, I don't like the way you sing. You know?
I always wonder, because obviously I do like Green Day, but I always wonder if sometimes you're listening to well, not you, because you wouldn't be listening to a Green Day song, but sometimes you listen to like a Green Day song and you're thinking, yeah, man, like this is banging and he sounds good and all that, and you're like, and you'll catch his voice and almost everything will disappear and you'll just hear his voice and be like, oh, that fucking sucks. And if we didn't have the music and the rhythm and the bounce and the pep and all that, we probably wouldn't rate him as high.
Yeah. And because I'm not a fan of the music, I don't really have any need to like brush over his inconsistencies because I haven't got anything else in it that I can go, wow, it's okay though, because all the guitars are banging. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, so for me, I know we're probably going to disagree in this, but for me, I'd have him in the meh category.
We're not going to disagree. I'm down with it. I obviously I have a love-hate relationship with Green Day, but I recognize, to me, his vocals are so nasally, and there's another nasally performance on this that I would have a different opinion here. But like when it comes to Billy Joe Armstrong, it's not his voice that I go, that's why. Like, I hear Dookie in my head right now, and I'm just like, oh no, it's not that I like. So yeah, let's do meh. Let's
do it.
Internet.
Get him out this round.
We have another woman, and I'm interested to know how well you know this particular one. It's Brody Dale of the Distillers fame. Obviously, the Distillers are back. Supposedly going to have a new album this year.
Where they been?
Where they been? They just went. They just stopped.
Right. Okay.
15 years ago, maybe even longer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the name, but I don't know enough. I don't know anything really about them. I didn't know they were gone. I didn't know they were coming back. It's going to have very little impact on my life, I think.
Okay. So I mean, the Distillers are my jam. I love her vocals. She's got a real snarl punk vibe to her. Obviously, that's very much her style of music as well. But I'm a big fan of Brody Dale and how she sings. She can be really sultry as well. Very, very sexy, very, very intense, very angry, very garbled and spitty. I love her. So I'm going to put her in good behind Axl Rose, because I'm not too sure. I haven't heard modern stuff. And when I think of her voice, I'm thinking of albums that came out in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So put her there, and maybe that'll change in the future. Legendary time. It is the one, the only. It is Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden fame and Bruce Dickinson solo stuff. I think that's the only stuff he does. And flies planes.
Yeah, the Tannoy announcements on planes.
Oh, God, awesome.
Yeah, I hope he does them in high pitched voice as well when he does them.
This is one where I hope we agree. Neither of us are massive Maiden fans. We both appreciate and love them for what they've done and all that.
Yeah.
But for me, this is one that I can't put any lower than iconic.
Oh no, I agree absolutely. It's weird as well because for me, I'm not against it, but I often find myself disliking the higher pitched vocals more than I do.
Yep.
Like a lower toned vocals. But I still have no problem with Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah.
I think he is an iconic frontman, an iconic vocalist.
In iconic he goes, no question. Right, here we go. Here's a really difficult one because when we're doing this comparative between what they sounded like once before and what they sound like now, this vocalist has a real problem with this. It is Brrraaains A Bell of X Fear Factory. Shit. Because once upon a time, I'd have been like iconic.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard him sing for about 6 years now.
Oh, God. So... It was a couple of years back at Bloodstock was the last time I think I heard him. Gone a couple of years back. And Demanufacture.
The Manufacture tour was the last, the anniversary one. And he didn't sound bad on that at all, but that was probably helped by the fact that there isn't an awful lot of clean singing on Demanufacture.
I will say his work with Ascension of the Watchers, they had an album out in 2020, should I say, 2020. And I thought he sounded great in it, but that's a very effects heavy kind of thing. So and it's on record, I thought he sounded great.
The problem with Burton is it's not even an era thing. It was the difference between a studio recording and a live performance.
Yeah.
There were very many inconsistencies live, and very many times it was maybe a equipment problem or whatever.
Yeah.
But it also happened an awful lot. So
it's feel like you never really knew what kind of Fear Factory performance you'd get vocally. And for every Forum gig where it kind of sucked, I've got the Underworld where I thought they were great and stuff like that,
Yeah, and the Demanufacture anniversary tour was great as well. That's my most recent experience of it. So I'm going to judge on that. And I think he's great.
Yeah.
Still, whether we hear him sing for Fear Factory again or not is another thing ever in the future. But based on what I know up to that anniversary tour, I'd still put him as great.
Okay, I'm happy with great as well. Above or below Angela?
Probably below, which I find myself feeling weird saying that, but overall I think she's a stronger vocalist.
There we go. I agree. Sticking with the super strong, we have the late Linkin Park frontman Chester Bennington. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one.
Yes. Okay, to try and separate this a little bit, don't you? Because the fact of whether I like the band or not doesn't really matter. I am aware he could sing.
Yes.
Even though, say, the first album in particular, there are many times when his singing amounted almost to nails on a chalkboard for me.
Yeah.
But overall, over the course of his career, I'm aware he was a good singer. In fact, he's probably a better singer than he was a shouter.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
So I think if I'm weighing it up as a whole package, the fact that I think he was a great singer and occasionally his rough vocals I felt were a bit weak and I don't know the word for it is, but just felt I don't know, light. So I would go for good. I'd probably put him below Axel, and I don't know on the Distillers Ladies. I'll let you choose on that if you agree with good.
I would agree with you, except I'd put him ahead of Axl Rose. I think Chester has way more range, and obviously, he didn't have the age thing because obviously he's passed away, so we're never going to really know what an older Chester would be like.
Nah.
To back up that, I have seen Linkin Park live at the Roundhouse in London, and he was incredible live. So, does that weigh you to agree with me? Put him above Axl?
I just do you know what I keep doing in my head is I keep trying to imagine Chester Bennington at any point in his career singing Civil War.
Oh, see, oh God, you're right. There's nothing like that in Linkin Park's catalog for me.
I don't know if that's fair or not because they're two different bands. You know what I mean? But
you know what? When we get to this thing, we have to do it. Well, when we get to this kind of situation where we're a bit stuck, we'll make the decider on who, forget their skills, our own personal preference. Now, I personally prefer Axl Rose.
Oh, that's all right. I thought we were both going to split again there.
No, I agree with you. I do want to hear Axl Rose's music from Guns N' Roses and singing the style like that over Chester's stuff and Linkin Park. I do. So we'll put him after Axl. Another controversial one, because I'm sure many people think he should be in the iconic, but there you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of iconic, we are touching upon another artist who has passed away, sadly. It is the immeasurable tone of Chris Cornell. I
iconic.
mean, yeah, what can you say, right? I mean, what he does, what he's able to do vocally still wows me. And having, part of our period of recording here includes a track by track for Audio Slave. And I said to my wife about halfway through, I said, how many more times can I write Chris sounds great?
He does. I mean, obviously bands that he was involved in, and he featured a lot as a guest singer on a lot of things, but there's probably some of the best examples of Chris Cornell's amazing vocals. Like there's this spattering of tracks out there where he's like done a emotional, soulful cover of, say, a pop song.
Yes.
I think there's a cover of Billie Jean, for example, but done, there's no like connection back to the Michael Jackson song whatsoever. It is purely Chris Cornell crooning. And it is genuinely like, this guy could have been, I don't know, a soul singer. He could have been, what were they called? Like the Frank Sinatra sort of guys back in the day. Yeah, he could have been anything he wanted. And I think, we were all very fortunate that he was in our genre.
Yeah. Question is, above or below Bruce?
Above for me, in terms of overall vocal talent. This isn't obviously pure, front man sort of stuff, because as a front man that'd be a different thing. This is best vocalist, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% agree. Chris Cornell, top of iconic, no question. Oh, we get to another difficult one. It is Slipknot's / Stone Sour frontman Corey Taylor, who, if I was judging him alone on his guttural, would be iconic. But then I'm not a big fan of his clean singing.
I don't mind his cleans, but it depends on the type of cleans. I mean, and the reason is because he has got a good range, because he actually sings quite differently for Stone Sour clean than he does, say, for Slipknot clean.
Cool.
Within his range, you will also see him hit up like rap and hip hop sort of speed delivery of lyrics.
True.
He has got multiple different types of aggressive vocals, growls, and mid range. But I think, Corey, for me, as much as I'm not a fan of Stone Sour at all, and obviously Slipknot, great band. I always hope they hit the heights that they once did. They sometimes get close and they sometimes don't.
Yeah.
But I do think, whatever my feelings about Corey Taylor is he's an immense vocalist. And actually, it's sometimes the fact that he's a bit of a mouthy fucker that makes people sort of like detracting him. But you strip back some of those songs, even in the early days or the more recent days, and he seems to have 4 or 5 different cleans that he can bring in and out, switches to, like I said, like fiery sort of spit it out style speed delivery of rap styled lyrics.
Yeah.
3 or 4 different aggressive shouts, and he seamlessly switches between them. So, yeah, I actually think Corey Taylor is an iconic vocalist. I don't think he's at the level of Bruce Dickinson or Chris Cornell.
At the end.
Yeah, but I do think actually...
I'll put him there because you make all those points you make, you're absolutely right.
I mean, I'm not a Corey Taylor obsessive or anything like that. It's just like something I've kind of come to realize, I think, over the years, is that whether I like the man or not, like, God damn, this guy can sing.
Yeah, you are right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think of something super mellow from like Stone Sour, ZZYXX Road, and then you think of something like Sick from Slipknot, and you're like, Jesus Christ, that's incredible. The same man is doing both.
Yeah, and then, like, it's the in-between stuff as well, though, isn't it? You go to, I can't even remember the name of it now, but like the sort of slower, darker Slipknot songs, Gently, for example.
Yeah.
Now, the sort of that kind of clean that he does in there, which is that kind of menacing, whispery sort of tone. But then by the end of Gently, it is epic, like in terms of like growled vocals.
Yeah, and even if you want it more straightforward of just outright screaming, something like People Equals Shit, where
Yeah.
it's just pure aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's stupid of me to think he was anything but iconic. Now, this could be a controversial one, not for us, because I think I know roughly where we both would like this guy to go, but it is the little screaming demon himself, Danny Filth of Cradle of Filth fame.
Yeah.
I mean,
for me, he's iconic.
yeah.
Like, you know, I genuinely do think that, and I'm going to try my best to just, even though I don't think I need to, but to put my argument forward this as well. I think, love it or hate it, everybody knows his vocals for a start. Again, love it or hate it, there's no denying that he's got some range.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of an argument to say that the vocal tones he hits on record, he doesn't do live.
Okay.
I'm not saying he gets as high and he gets as low, but because obviously when they record, they will multi-track his vocals. You know, so in a live environment, it's not always equally recreated. You know, so I guess you could kind of argue that about it. And I completely get that some people don't like it, but you know, it's the same. You know, if you're gonna dislike other black metal bands, do you know what I mean? It's the same. Oh my god, he screeches. Yeah, well, so do half of the fucking bands we listen to, mate. You know, so. But yeah, I think for us personally, you know, I know Danny Filth for me is iconic.
Yeah.
You know.
Just, well, I agree. I mean, it has to be. He is a voice both of us have been listening to for decades. That's the simple fact of it. And it's a voice.
Yeah, and it is the voice that got me into Cradle. That's the thing. It wasn't like, oh my God, they've got a guitar, or oh my God, they've got a piano. It was like, shit, do you hear that 30-second long scream at the beginning of the song?
Yeah.
You know?
That drawn out her ghost in the fog with the fog screech, you know what I mean?
How many times have people, like fan or not of Cradle of Filth, probably one of the most common sentences ever said while listening to a Cradle of Filth song for the first time is, that can't be one singer.
Yeah.
That can't be. You know, and then when you find out it is, it's like, oh fuck.
I
remember at one point I used to think he did the fucking female vocals as well. I was like, shit, he even does that.
But often my favorite parts, and I know it's similar to favorite parts of Danny Filth's vocals, are when he gets really low and growly and just sounds so demonic. I love that shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
above or below Corey?
Overall, probably below.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair in terms of overall range and talent and accessibility and that. But
we have another contender for the iconic, of course. It is, oh geez, why don't we even bother with this one? Devin Townsend.
He's iconic. It's just where he goes, isn't it?
I mean, what can we say about Devin Townsend? I mean, if you're going, why? I don't know, if I can't imagine there's anyone out there who's heard a multitude of Devin Townsend songs, be it Strapping Young Lad, be it The Project, be it him his own stuff recently, and thought, nah, that guy's just all right. You know?
Yeah. I mean, when you're trying, you know, you can easily, I don't know, hold up, say, Devin Townsend Project or in whatever it might be, and say I don't like the overall thing, but I don't think anyone ever comes out of it going like he can't sing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's an iconic singer.
Yeah.
He's one of the best singers we have alive in rock and metal today, I personally think.
I think a music overall.
You know, so for me, I wouldn't put him above Chris Cornell, is the only thing different.
Yeah.
And it's and as much as I, you know, and it is close. That's the thing. It is close because they are quite different because, you know, but yeah. Chris and then Devin is a top two for me.
Yeah, I put them right there. I agree. Okay, Ronnie James Dio, the late Dio.
Fucking hell. We just have one category. Just put everyone.
I did kind of stick everyone great in this one.
Yeah. Oh, you know, what I'm doing in my head is like, you know, again, I think he's obviously an iconic vocalist, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to position him. That's why, you know, the weird thing. I'm not trying to categorize him. I already know the category. It's just whereabouts in it.
Yeah, because I mean, you were talking about Chris Cornell, Devin Townsend, and Bruce Dickinson. He's somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Where? Who would you rather listen to, Bruce Dickinson or Dio?
For me, Dio.
Same, right? So then that's it, right?
Yeah. Stick him in between.
Not said he's
Debbie and Bruce.
Okay, and we have another woman on the list, and it is Doro Pesch.
Oh, okay. It's an interesting one because she is an iconic front woman.
Oh, I
but I don't love all of her vocals.
agreed.
You know, so actually, you know, comparing it on a vocalist, she is a strong vocalist. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
she's a very, very, very good vocalist. It's not like I don't like it. But
When I was younger, I used to get confused. I used to get confused between her vocals and Lita Ford, even though they're quite different.
Yeah, I can see why you would though. They're both female.
Have you ever seen Dora live?
Yeah, we did I?
I haven't.
Maybe I didn't. No, I'm trying to think. I don't know actually. I don't think so. No.
Not even back in the day when you were pilled up.
It's quite possible. That's the problem. Is I'm trying to remember back, and I'm like, you know, during those 20-minute come downs, before you went back up again, did you see anything? No, I don't think I did. I don't think I did. Or if I did, it hasn't stuck in my mind as something. Because I you know, it's a weird thing with as much as I, you know, even now, even if I haven't seen Doro live, I've got no particular part of me going, oh, I really must.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? So
the question is, does she? I mean, what she does and her range is perfect, and the music she plays. But is it great or good?
It's good.
Okay, we got Axl Rose at the top. Better than that?
Yeah, let's put her above Axl.
Banging.
Just for being cool.
Plus, her latest stuff, her last couple of albums and stuff have been really, really strong. So she's still going well, which I can't say for Guns N' Roses.
No.
Sticking with the women, it is the current front woman of Nightwish. It is Floor Jansen. Now, the best thing I can say about Floor Jansen is I never thought in a million years anybody could ever properly front Nightwish again after Tajara left. And we saw kind of bit, not Revolving Door, but we had Anneke and Annette Olsen. Annette Olsen. Yeah. And it kind of seemed like Nightwish were always going to struggle to replace. But I think with Floor, they've found someone with as close to range as they're going to get to someone that's classically trained in the case of Tajara. And Floor is also quite a powerful, strong symphonic singer, and as a front woman, does a great job in that as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think she's a phenomenal singer.
Yeah.
She's a phenomenal presence. She's a great front woman. She looks like she was been part of Nightwish forever.
Yeah.
To be honest, so
I'd put her in great.
Same. Yeah, I'm happy for her to go in a great.
We got Angela Burton.
I think she can go top of great. I think Floor.
Yes. Okay, if I said to you, "Hey ladies, hey fellas," do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's right. I was, in case you carried on, I was just about to get the mute button ready.
I was going to stop there. I don't think I remember the rest of the lyrics. Yes, it is, of course, Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit.
The next lyric is, "And the people who don't give a fuck."
That's it. Punk rockers,
hip hoppers,
pill poppers.
Hip hoppers.
Pill poppers, hip hoppers. Yeah.
He doesn't do shoe shiners at any point, I don't think.
I mean, oh God. This was I threw a couple, there's a couple in here like this where I was like, well, we've got to throw in a few questionable ones. But the question is about Fred Durst is, I mean, it's hard as vocals because there's a strong argument. There's a heavily messed around with in post-production and stuff like that to a degree. But I know he can perform live as well. But
yeah. But you know, like
rap.
I'm not a huge fan of rap or hip hop, so I'm not really in the know with modern rappers or hip hoppers or hippity hoppitiers or whatever the fuck they call them these days. But I do believe I'm right in saying that if he was held up in rap circles, he wouldn't be classed as a kind of iconic rapper.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I might be wrong, but that's what I believe. I don't believe, like, you know, when I don't know, you tiny fucking all the big kind of rap names and all that don't like mix with Fred Durst.
Were you trying to say Tiny Temper?
Yeah, but then I was pulling it back. I was trying to pull it back because that's not who I'm thinking about. Who is it who headlined Glastonbury?
Oh God, why can't I remember his name? He's actually he's really talented. Oh,
yeah, he's a very cool guy actually.
Yeah, he's local to me. Freaking
yeah, Stormzy.
Yeah, Stormzy.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
But also, like, even you know, I'm not a fan of any of them, but like the sort of modern rappers in the States, or even the people that I do listen to, which are more on the horrorcore side of things.
Of course.
You know, like your Twisteds, your blades and all that sort of stuff. You know, Fred Durst is often the butt of jokes in their songs.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's just like gimmicks and all that. Do you know what I mean? But I don't get the impression. I mean, I'm not a fan of rap, you know, like overall. And if I was, I'm a fan of rap in its dark horrorcore context, which is not what Fred Durst does. In fact, Fred Durst delivers the rap that I hate over heavy riffs, which is the check out my gold chains and my hat and all my money, bitches.
Yes.
In fact, that's everything that I fucking hate about rap for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, as a singer, this is probably the bit that's more controversial because he doesn't sing an awful lot, right? But the one or two times he has done a song where he sings that I've listened to, most people seem to really hate it because of his vocals. Like, say, for example, his cover of Behind Blue Eyes.
That's the one, isn't it? And I don't like that song.
But and I'm not a fan of that song, but I actually think he sounds okay in it. I think he sings it quite well. So the weird thing about Fred Durst is I actually think he's got an okay singing voice and he's a shit rapper, which is completely wrong, isn't it? It's meant to be like...
Yeah. So I would have defended, okay, you know, his hip hop style is at least energetic and I can go with that. But then I was going to criticize his singing voice because I mean, there isn't enough of it. I haven't listened to him sing enough to really say that I think he's a good singer. I just mean purely in that one in particular. I don't think it's terrible. You know, I listen to it and I go like, oh, okay, so you can hold a note at least. No one knows what it's like.
Yeah.
It's got to be meh. It's got.
Yeah, he has to. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're doing all of this debate, but it's still going in meh.
Behind Billy Joel, right?
For me, he's above.
Ooh.
But no, go on, I'll let you have that because I'm probably being unfair for my dislike of Green Day.
Yeah, I think I'd rather listen to Billy Joel than Fred. Okay, here's an interesting one because for us, we would put this man in iconic. But obviously, he sings in a band that isn't necessarily considered an iconic band in the grander scheme of rock and metal. It is the unbelievable vocal talents of Hansi Kirch of Blind Guardian.
Yeah. Yeah, he's iconic.
To me, he's up there alongside Devon and Chris Cornell.
Yeah, well, for me, I'd put him after Dio. I'd split Dio and Bruce and have him after Dio.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'd drop him down a place or two is purely because, and I don't blame him for it, but as age has got to him, there are parts of songs, you know, that he struggles with now.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
right, yeah.
But you know, he's an amazing fucking singer. He's amazing.
No argument there. That iconic list is going to be one of those where, again, it's like, look, we just think these guys are all great, so it is what it is. Sticking to great, although I think we might have an interesting conversation about this. It is Papa Het himself, James Hetfield of, obviously, Metallica fame. Now,
fucking hell, get me worried there for a minute because when you said Papa, I was thinking like he's not, is he? Not gonna say Papa Emeritus or whatever the fuck it is.
No, because it's singers per album, so we'd have to have 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, yeah, true.
No, of course it's James Hetfield. Now I automatically go, well, of course he's iconic, but then I remember, James Hetfield's vocal style from albums 1 and 2 to say, maybe even 3 and 4. Up until James Hetfield these days are very, very different.
They are, yes. And obviously I'm the same as you. My instant reaction is, oh, it's the word Metallica, therefore it must go at the top of every list. And I can also be critical and say that, when you hold up James Hetfield in terms of overall vocal ability to the likes of a Devin Townsend or anyone, or a Bruce Dickinson even, there's no comparison. James is not anywhere near that level of vocal ability.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're right, his vocals have changed fucking massively.
Yeah.
But I don't think they haven't changed for the worse.
No,
I think.
God, no. I think
that's the thing. Yeah. It's not like I listen to him sing a song these days and go, oh God, that doesn't work. Or him do, I don't know, Seek and Destroy or something from an older album with his newer voice and think, no, this is a problem. No. Like, yeah, I agree with you. I think if anything, his vocals improved over time. Yeah, I guess like they all do a lot of the time with age, isn't it? It's once they put the beers down and they go start doing a bit of vocal training and learning how to look after their exercise. You know, keep them away from Mama Said and stuff like that if we possibly can. But I don't think that's a weird one. He's an iconic frontman, but he's an accidental vocalist. He never even wanted to be a singer, did he? He was just filling a hole in a band until they got one, and then they just never did. You know, so I don't think I'm struggling here because part of me wants to put him at the top of great. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
But another part of me, my Metallica bones, are saying like, you can't do that to James Hetfield.
I think, right, considering the impact this had on us, I think we do put him an iconic, but because we've got Danny Filth there, and I think if Danny Filth's there, James Hetfield has to go alongside him.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And I think alongside him, but maybe after, because James's vocals, have so adapted and changed and stuff like that. I think the argument's there for iconic, but at the end of iconic.
Let's do that then.
Okay, this is an interesting one. I'll be interested to see what you think of this. It is James Maynard Keenan of Tool and A Perfect Circle. Now, for me, he's iconic and up there alongside Dio, Hansi, Devin, and Chris Cornell. This man's vocals have not aged a single fucking day, and he still sounds as incredible now as he did back in the early noughties. Yeah?
Yeah, okay. I'm all right with that. I mean, I think he's a great singer. I've never really massively ever got on board either the annoyingly slow Tool train or the not so slow, but still quite slow, A Perfect Circle train, to be honest with you. But I am aware, I do know enough of the music where I know he's a fantastic singer, So, yeah, I'm fine with that.
I will add as well, like for extra emphasis for those watching and thinking, God, you can't put him that high. I saw Perfect Circle. So I'd never seen Tool or Perfect Circle live in my life. I saw Perfect Circle in 2019 on the Eat the Elephant tour, one of those sold out shows at Brixton. And I spent an hour and a half, 2 hours. And all I remember from that gig is Maynard. I was mesmerized by him. I could not believe how good he sounded live. But I would like to put him after Dio ahead of Hansi.
Well, you've got control of the button, so I can't really stop you, can I?
I think when you said about Hansi, there are certain high notes you can't hit. Maynard doesn't have that problem.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I don't, I can't say for certain, having not really seen Maynard anytime. I think in the last 10 years. So
Hansi looks like a school teacher. Maynard looks like a rock star. There's the difference.
Well, that makes all the difference to your voice.
It is Scatman himself, Jonathan Davis of Korn fame. Certainly
unique vocals.
Yeah, if you heard him sing any song, you'd be like, that's Jonathan Davis, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Where do I put Jonathan Davis?
To me, he's not iconic, though, because I would argue that he doesn't have a ton of range in the sense that the mellower Korn stuff.
Yeah.
I find him a little bit whinier on that stuff and not so enjoyable compared to him just letting rip.
Yeah, I mean, his range is essentially, he's got that kind of squealy voice anyway, but he does like a cleaner version of it and then a heavier version of it.
Yep.
And then the only other part of his range is crying, basically. Or whispery kind of, like panting and stuff like that. I don't think he's iconic. I agree with that. I also don't think he's got anywhere near the range of anyone that we've put in iconic so far.
Yeah.
But I do, yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him to go in the great, though. I think he's still a great vocalist.
Ahead or below Floor?
Below.
Ahead of Angela, then?
Below.
Ooh, Burton.
Oh, shit. Below. No, sorry, no, sorry, ahead of Burton.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. All right, another woman vocalist, and it's on the heavy side of things again, and a more modern band. Here we have Larissa Stupa of Venom Prison. What do you think? I know you're as sold on Venom Prison as I am. Are you?
I like Venom Prison. I don't know if I'm sold yet. As in, I like everything that I've seen from Venom Prison so far. I like the band. I like the way they kind of carry themselves and the things that they speak out against. And, I'm kind of on board the Venom Prison train to a degree. I'm just not sure if I'm getting off the next stop or staying on for a bit longer. As that will come with more releases and more albums.
Of course.
The thing, maybe I'm not familiar enough with them, but I'm not really sure in terms of range. So obviously I know from the hardcore kind of aggressive, vocal style,
Yeah.
which I've heard plenty of, and her voice is extremely strong, extremely powerful. Holds it easily with the best of the growlers out there.
Sure.
But I don't think I've heard personally a Venom Prison song that doesn't follow that formula. Where like with any kind of cleans or anything like that in it.
There is a hint. We did get a hint at the end of the latest release with the 2 EPs combined. They added some extra songs, 2 extra songs that were a little bit different for Venom Prison. And there's some different vocalization in there from Larissa, which if you go check out the interview on the channel, we actually talk about with Ash Gray of the band about that and about the future and ideas they've got going around. So I think we're going to see some intriguing stuff from Venom Prison.
I hope so, because that's really where I'm at with them. If you're gonna release another 1, 2, or 3 albums of the same of what's been done so far, that's probably where I will become bored. So, but the problem is that as of right this moment, I've heard what I've heard, and because there isn't enough of a range across that stuff, I wouldn't go any higher than good.
Okay, good's good.
Reasonably comfortably.
Well, we've got Doro and Axl Rose as the top 2. Above or below either of those?
Fucking hell. I'll put her at below both of them, and at the bottom of good. Just not because of any problem with her, just because I need to see more.
Well, before that, we've still got a few more. Below Chester, Bennington?
Oh, sorry, there's more. I'll put her above Chester.
There, I like it. I like that a lot. It's a great place. It is the spooky kid himself, Mr. Marilyn Manson. Difficult one. I love his vocals, but I'm aware Marilyn Manson vocals are very similar across many, many tracks. Doesn't have a ton of range, does he?
Not so much anymore, anyway.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's I've never really been a huge fan. I've always been a fan of the slower, darker songs.
Yeah.
And in those, I think he's a phenomenal singer. His most recent work, I think, is phenomenal because it's predominantly that style of music. But he does that. He kind of has those two styles of singing only. One which is a kind of faster. It's not really a pitch thing. It's just a little bit faster, a little bit louder.
Yeah.
And then the one where it's more like a whispered sing. Everything in between is often just toyed with by effects, so it'll fade into the background, or it'll come through a bit more distorted. So I don't think he's a great vocalist overall.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm happy to put him in good.
Top of good, above Doro?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair place for him, because I do think songs like Man That You Fear or what's called an Irresponsible Hate Anthem, and think that's 2 incredibly different tracks, Okay, Matthew Heafy of Trivium fame.
Yep. I'm interested. Right. I know that the general consensus in the world used to be, until they kind of went backwards, just that most people weren't sold on his vocals.
True.
I've always enjoyed his vocals.
Always
liked him. I think he's a strong singer. He's got a very strong singing voice.
Yes.
He's a very capable singer.
Sometimes I like clean more than his clean. Like sometimes I think he's a better clean singer than he's an aggressive.
Yeah, and I think he knows that too. And I think that's something that's come to him with age, which is why you'll see a lot of things with them these days where the aggressive vocals are backed by the guitarist more. So I don't think he's not. We know he's not iconic. I don't think he's got. He might go into great, but I think he'd be down the bottom end of great.
Yeah, I'm happy with great, but I would have to put him off the Burton. Have to at the bottom.
Yeah.
Go on, Matt. Get in there. Okay, back to a big name. Back to some big names. In fact, it is the legendary, the one and only, the iconic Ozzy Osbourne. I mean,
we all know Ozzy's voice.
Yeah, is there a more distinctive style of singing in the world? And here's the thing: the whole he may not be able to hit those highs these days. I'm like, it doesn't matter. The geezer's getting its age and a lifetime or very lengthy part of his life of living piss poor. He's still alive and he can still sing.
Yeah. And he's Aussie, man.
Yeah.
You know, so he's got to go in iconic. The interesting one for me here is like whether Dio or Ozzy are above each other.
Well, that's the question. Who would you prefer to hear?
I mean, I'd actually prefer to hear Ozzy,
Yes.
to be honest with you. You know,
you
I
definitely
love Ozzy. It's Ozzy, man. You know, so I mean, because we're doing it on overall vocal talent, you know, for the most part, yeah, right. There's a few little tweaks here and there, but I would still have Devin and Chris Cornell as 1 and 2.
Yep.
And then I would have Ozzy.
Yeah, I've done it. Yep, I agree. And I'd much prefer to listen to Ozzy singing Changes or something like that than Dio. But this one's going to be interesting. I'm not sure. We've never really discussed this band at length. So it's interesting to sort of see what your thoughts are on his style of singing. He has passed away a very long time ago. It is Peter Steele of Typo Negative fame.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a very distinctive style for a star.
His voice is incredible. Like, if you were a teenage girl, my God, or boy, one was the same girl. If you were a teenager, it was hard not to be attracted to him just by hearing him.
Yep. Yeah. I would imagine he made more people come out as gay than the Catholic Church.
I was waiting for a bad joke, but there it is.
Yeah.
Not
right, so,
because
because it is just that voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's an amazing voice, and yeah, like you said, it's sexy, it's dark, it's the perfect gothic voice. You know, it's perfect for what Type of Negative were. Yeah, you couldn't imagine them any other way, man.
Yeah,
like Bruce Dickinson singing for him or something.
Yeah.
You know, the band exists because of his voice.
Yeah.
But you know, I also couldn't imagine him, and maybe he would have eventually, who knows, but I can't imagine him singing anything else. Like, do you know what I mean? I can't imagine him suddenly doing like a cover of a more popular song and raising his tone up or anything like that.
Right.
So maybe we just didn't get enough time to see his whole range, but
Indeed.
I think he's a great singer.
For me, I'd split our top 2. I'd split Floor and Angela and put Peter right in between them.
Yeah, do that.
Floor stays top because
I'm sure they'll be happy about
it. Okay, right. Interesting one. Controversial vocalist here. Obviously, it is the man himself. It is the one, the only Philip H. Anselmo of Down, Pantera, Superjoint Ritual, Scour. I mean, there's one thing we can certainly agree on here is that he does have a lot of range.
He has a lot of range. He's another one who, I know we're never going to obviously know this now, but we did see some of it, who can't say hit the cemetery gates ending.
For sure.
You know, so the Cowboys from Hell era Phil to probably not even that far after that, to be honest with you. It's probably by the time things like Trendkill and stuff like that were out, where he already couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so his voice changed quite rapidly.
Ooh.
He's got like all of the harsh elements that I love. You know, he's aggressive, he can growl, he can scream, but he's also got a little bit of that Pete Steele, you know, when you get into the down stuff sometimes, you know, where it gets into that low down, dark tone, sultry voice.
Sexy.
You know, so yeah, I'm a big fan of him as a vocalist, but I am also aware that, you know, he can't do half of what he did.
Yep.
You know, so I think he's a great vocalist, or do I think he's iconic? I think he's iconic.
Oh, see, great for me, man. Great. Like, right. I might be tempted to put him at the top of great.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm split. You know what I mean? I'm happy for him to go into great, because I was either coming in at the bottom of iconic or the top of great. So
let's one with the top of great and move Floor down one. Sorry, Floor. Okay, here we go. Now this is going to be an interesting one about whether this particular vocalist is iconic or just great. It is Machine Head singer, frontman extraordinaire, Robert Flynn. Rob Flynn.
Rob. I don't think we're allowed to address him as Robert just yet.
I don't think anyone Robert. So Rob Flynn. Yes.
We can call him Bobby.
Bobby. Rob, yeah. So, I mean,
I'm obviously going to put you know, obviously I'm a little bit of a Machinist fan, but I'm also critical enough to know that, things are unsettled in the camp and my feelings towards them and all that, But I think most of the grief he gets about things like his vocals and that are actually just because of this whole I hate Machine Head bubble.
Yep.
That kind of expands at the moment. I think he has got a very good range. I do. I think he has very strong, aggressive vocals. I think he can also jump into that kind of Corey Taylor styled, faster delivery kind of rap tone.
Yep.
And then I listen to him sing songs like Behind a Mask, for example, off the new album. And I think it's beautiful. So much so that I've got like the whole verse tattooed down my leg, like the first verse of it. So I do think he's got a much better range than he's given credit for. I think it's more that people don't always like the songs, and that's fine.
That's fine.
I think he's a great vocalist.
Yep.
For me, I would put him, he's probably not going to be happy about this, but I put him behind Phil.
I'm going to go with that because that's better than what I expected from you. Because the only part I felt like I could criticize was Rob isn't a great rapper. So don't rap.
Oh, no, not a rapper. I just meant that when you do the faster delivery of vocals.
Yeah, but no, I didn't think you meant that either. I'm just saying, when you think of the other style of vocals he's often done, say from the Burning Red, and that's the stuff I'm like not too sure.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm 100% behind the idea of Rob never rapping again. I'm all for that.
After Phil is perfect. Right, we got 4 more. And it is, of course, the legendary vocalist of Judas Priest and his own stuff, Rob Halford.
Well, where do we put him in the iconic bracket?
That is the question, really. Straight away, exactly. We have Chris Cornell, Devin Townsend, Ozzy, Dio, and then Maynard. And it's like, it's somewhere around Dio and Maynard, maybe ahead of Maynard and after Dio. I mean, because it's difficult with Rob, because his vocals in the past are great. His vocals are great now. Of course, he can't hit certain highs, and he's of a certain age. I don't think we can expect that. But I still listen to him and think, fucking hell, he does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I think he's amazing. I do. I genuinely, the man blows my mind. See, for me, I actually would put him above Ozzy.
Okay.
But I think it's that level. He's either above or just behind Ozzy.
I wasn't going to put him behind Ozzy, but I'm happy to put him above Ozzy because, truth be told, I'd rather. I think I'd rather listen to Rob Halford these days than I would Ozzy.
Yeah.
Talking about people who were great back in the day and maybe don't have that range anymore, it is Sebastian Bach of Skid Row fame. Once upon a time. Yeah. I mean, if we were judging him during Skid Row's heyday, he might be near the very top.
Yeah, he probably would be, to be honest. Yeah, the first 3 albums for me were my Skid Row era. I know obviously Skid Row continued and Sebastian Bach did his own things, but like you said, his voice changed. He definitely could not do what I remember of Skid Row now.
Oh God, no.
And and I guess because of that, and because the 3 albums from Skid Row, the original kind of 3, Slave to Grind, that one, and Subhuman Race.
Yep.
They are a long fucking time ago, man. Like. They've all got to be, I don't even know when they came out, man, but like early 90s, and they're all.
Yeah, we're almost at 3 decades ago, right? We've got.
Yeah. So the last time I felt that I enjoyed Sebastian Bach singing was the best part of 30 years ago. So I don't doubt that he can probably still sing to a degree. Whether I'm still a fan of it or not, I'm not entirely sure. So I think probably good.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it feels weird to, when you say Sebastian Bach to me, it's the weird thing with this is I still picture him like with, his top off with his long lion mane in songs like Wasted Time.
Yeah.
Like nothing happened after that. Like he was put in a time capsule and you'd be dug up one day.
I mean, these days he's just in a constant Twitter feud with Chris Jericho. So I agree with good. The question is, we've got Manson at the top of good. Better or worse?
Overall, probably worse.
Agreed.
Just in terms of length of career and that, although they probably both have no career soon.
Doro?
I'm with the same again. I'll bump him behind Doro.
Well, we've got Axl Rose next, so there's the big question, right? We got Axl Rose.
Yeah.
Vocals.
I think after Axl.
Okay, so ahead of Larissa.
Oh, this is getting too fucking hard now. I don't know. Just chuck him off the list.
Try to put him at the bottom after Brody Dale. Just stick Sebastian at the bottom of good. He's in good and he's there. Yes.
Yeah, done.
One of the second last one and one of the most unique vocalists in the world, but not everybody loves it. It is Till Lindemann of Rammstein.
Yeah, we might differ a bit on opinion here. So
now here's the thing. I'm not saying iconic. I'm not saying that because I think he's got a style, not a load of range. He can sing. We've seen it with the slow Rammstein songs. But what I like more from him is that aggressive, thumping, deep voice he's got, that wonderful baritone thing he's got going on. So for me, he goes in great. This is just where he goes in great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have enough of a comparison for him. I'm not a fan of the band massively. Anytime I've not liked the band, it's never been because of his vocals.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I've got no problem. I've never been like, oh my God, Rammstein are terrible because he can't sing. It's just been the industrial side of it that I've always struggled with. So I think that's probably a fair indictment that he can sing. Otherwise, a person like me who's constantly detracting on the band would have probably picked up on it by now.
True. We did do a whole review track by track for Son.
Yeah, and I didn't really ever at any point in that come up with, I don't like his voice.
Yeah.
That was never the thing with it. So I'm happy for you to put him in great.
I want to put him after Peter Steele ahead of Angela. Because Peter Steele's too sexy to not be there.
All right. Cool then.
It's done.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. But last but not least, I did say there was another nasally motherfucker on this list. Who am I talking about? If I say nasally singers, who do you reckon it is?
Nasally singer other than
Billy Joel.
Oh, it's going to be Weezer, isn't it?
No, he's not nasally. He's got a wonderful
voice. What's his name?
Yeah. Not on this list. River Kumos.
River, that's it. Yeah.
Future. But it is nasally, and it is in the same vein as Green Day.
Offspring?
No, it is Tom DeLonge of Blink-182.
Right.
Oh, ex-Blink-182 and Angels and Airwaves, of course.
Yeah.
Now, you'll get people say he's a great vocalist. You get people that say he's a terrible vocalist. I, these days, sit in the middle of going, he's not a good vocalist. It works in Blink-182 because of the varied vocals and the style of songs, and I do enjoy what he does most of the time, but I'm not stupid. If I put Billy Joe Armstrong in Met because he's nasally, this guy's worse.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. He's definitely nasally. I never really listened to Angels and Airwaves or any of his other little side projects.
Yeah.
And I never really became a big fan of Blink either. But for me, the only time I enjoyed Blink, it appeared to be when they did a darker, heavier song. And it was always his verse that I liked best.
Cool.
Something like in I Miss You, for example, the second verse of that.
I can't even do it, but it's yeah. I know what you mean.
I know what you're saying because it works in that environment. And I can't imagine him, I don't know, doing a beautiful rendition of Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You or something like that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I like his vocals more than I do Billy Joe. I think he belongs in Meh, but the top of Meh, ahead of Billy Joe.
I'm happy for him to go into Meh because I'm not saying it because I think he's a great vocalist. I'm saying it that if somebody made me listen to Blink, then I had to listen to a song, and then I had to choose one verse at a song, then and only then would I choose his verse.
Fair enough.
But the rest of the time, I would just say the fuck away.
There it is then. That's not too shabby. In fact, incredibly, not a single vocalist ended up in rubbish at all. Oh, I'm just going to run down the top two, the ones that move on to the next round effectively later on in the year, the ones that we've deemed worthy of moving on are Matthew Heathby of Trivium, Burton C. Bell, I can't see him surviving later on, of Fear Factory, ex-Fear Factory, essentially the Watchers, Korn, frontman Jonathan Davis, Angela Gosser of Ex-Arch Enemy, Till Lindemann of Rammstein, Peter Steele of Type O Negative, Floor Jansen of Nightwish, Rob Flynn of Machine Head, and Philip H. Anselmo of various fucking bands. Pantera Down, you know the score. And the ones we've deemed iconic: James Hetfield of Metallica, Danny Filth of Cradle of Filth, Corey Taylor of Slipknot, Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden, Hansi Kirch of Blind Guardian, James Maynard Keenan of A Perfect Circle and Tool, Ronnie James Dio, Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Halford, Devin Townsend, and the one we put at the very, very top. And even when you think, all right, when all these guys are together in one big group at the end of the year, this guy is going to be very hard to shake from the very, very top. It is, of course, Chris Cornell. I think we nailed that there.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Before we stop, actually, let's just quickly go back through the good and see if there's any that you think deserve to go through to the next round. Because bear in mind, these guys are going to be eliminated and never seen these videos again. So we put in the good. Marilyn Manson.
No, I think he's right, Dana.
Doro.
Same. I'm happy with that.
Axl Rose.
Same.
Larissa, not Alyssa, sorry. Larissa
Yeah.
from Venom Prism.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think that's okay.
Chester Bennington.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I know a lot of people aren't going to be, but I am.
There are a couple, even I'm like, shit, should Chester Bennington at least not be in the great? But, you know, I think we put him in the right place. Same with Brody Dale. I think she's in the right place. And last but not least, of course, is Sebastian Bach. I think it's okay.
The important thing to remember with all of this is that we are in no way vocal coaches or anything like that. We're choosing our preferred singers. So it very well might be that to a vast majority of the world, that Chester is a fantastic singer.
Yep.
It's just not to me. Soz.
Soz, yeah, agreed. But there you go. Obviously, we'll have more parts to come in the future, so let us know your thoughts on this one in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?